In our lifetime, America's been known as the breadbasket of the world. We feed ourselves and a lot of other people too, around the world. We are going to buy more food than we export, $50 billion more. You can't hold on to your freedoms if you're dependent on foreign powers to feed and clothe you. This is serious. The limiting factor is water. Our state is out of water. And finally, this, and I've been saying that for 10 years. And finally, this legislative session, the legislature has acknowledged that, and they're attempting to address it. We'll see what comes out. Our cities, from the time they get their water to they deliver it to the customer, lose 30% of it.
Ready to roll?
Yep.
All right.
Real Texan.
Why should this matter to real Texans? Hey, welcome to this edition of Real Texans, where we talk to men and women who are doing great things to make an impact in the Lone Star State. Certainly, no one seems to make more willing to make a bigger impact, even if it causes you a little trouble along the way, is Sid Miller, our state's 12th Ag Commissioner. Sid Miller, thanks for sitting down today.
Good to be with you today, Michael. It's good to be back.
So, Commissioner, I certainly want to talk about you being the Ag Commissioner. And that's fun. We'll talk about some of that stuff maybe. But you just as Sid Miller I've always found to be a fairly fascinating guy. So it's fun to get to sit down with you and talk to you in the context besides legislation and that kind of stuff. You grew up in De Leon, Texas.
True.
And then you got your vocational ag education degree from Tarleton State University.
That's true also.
Which does kind of dovetail with, we'll talk about Ag Commission in a second, but you're not a guy who just woke up one day and said, I want to run for statewide office. Oh, that's an easy office. I'll run for that. Ag has been a big part of your life since you were, since before you were your family's been in the ag business forever.
8 generations.
Why has that been important to you to stay connected to the ag business? When you graduated college, you could have done all sorts of other things. You could have gone other places. Other things.
Yeah.
Why the ag industry, though? Why the ag business?
Well, it's hard to explain to people that didn't grow up in ag or have a legacy in agriculture, farm and ranch that's been in the family. It's the best way I can explain it is at some point you no longer own the land. The land owns you, and you become part of it. And so it's part of your DNA. It's who you are. It's your identification. I mean, it's everything. I mean, it's your background. It's your family. It's what you're known for. Right. So it's just, it's just like, well, my dad was a soldier. His dad was a soldier. I'm a soldier. My kids are going to be, it's just, that's the way it is.
Yeah. So, when you came out of college and you're thinking, what am I going to do? I'm going to be involved. It's fascinating. You kind of stuck in Stephenville. You made a life and a pretty good business there, kind of the outskirts of Stephenville. What was it about Stephenville, Texas that kept you there?
Didn't actually stay in Stephenville. I left and became a ag teacher.
That's right. Yeah. I forget about your time in education.
I was an ag teacher for 5 years in a little town in Augusta. Really enjoyed it. Couldn't feed my family on the salary, just to be honest with you, even though I enjoyed it as much as anything I've ever done. But I did learn something, being an FFA advisor and 4-H leader, that the greatest natural resource we have in Texas is not oil and gas. It's our youth. And FFA and 4-H puts a huge emphasis on educating our youth, and that's where leadership is taught, is in FFA and 4-H. Other courses throughout public school, high school, they don't get very little, maybe civics or something, but not much, not much leadership training. But you can be an FFA, you can be an extemporaneous speaker, you can learn to speak, you can be on a talent team, you can, be on chapter conducting, learn parliamentary procedure, which, by the way, is very handy when I was in the legislature.
That's right.
So that's, and then after that, we moved to Stephenville, been there ever since.
So it feels like in a lot of ways that we have kind of disincentivized people from staying, kids from kind of ag families from staying in ag. And in some ways, we've kind of poo-pooed people going, into the ag industry. That's been to our detriment, hasn't it?
Well, let me put it in perspective for you. When Texas was a republic, when America was the 13 colonies, 95% of the people were farmers or ranchers, because if you didn't grow it or kill it, you didn't eat. I mean, there was no grocery stores, there was no Walmarts, there was no Costco.
Right.
Today, that number is less than 2%. About 1.5% of us feed the rest of the world. So
Literally the rest of the world.
Literally feed the rest of the world. So what you just said is true. It's a shrinking demographic, becomes more important as it shrinks. And so farmers traditionally have had to adapt. And when I say that, I mean we have to produce more with less.
Right.
And that's always our challenge. And we've always met that challenge.
How do we then kind of start, again, I feel like when, talk to my son who's studying ag economics, I talk to, various friends whose families are in, ag, and they feel like there's this constant battle to try to convince young people that the ag industry is actually something that we should be concerned with and that we should celebrate rather than kind of treat it as the redheaded stepchild in the corner. How do we do that? How do we culturally, maybe out of government, what is it that we have to do to try to get folks back interested into working the land?
Well, we have a lot of programs at the Texas Department of Agriculture, Young Farmer Program, Young Farmer Grant Program. We're involved in all the stock shows with our youth and youth scholarships to train them in agriculture. Even though less than 2% of us actually live and work on a farm, 1 in 5 jobs in the state of Texas is indirectly related to agriculture.
Wow.
So that may be distribution, it may be transportation, it may be packaging, it may be sales, a whole host of things in there to get that cereal on your plate in the morning, right?
Right.
So it's still a very large, over $300 billion to the Texas economy each year. So we're, right up there with oil and gas.
Yeah. Okay, I want to go back to Sid Miller for a second.
Okay.
Guy from a little small town, Tarleton, teacher, ag business. You're also a 12-time world champion in rodeo. How did Sid Miller end up getting involved in rodeos? What pulled you in there?
I went to college on a athletic scholarship, rodeo scholarship, and that's kind of always that's been my sport. I don't play golf. I don't have a Harley Davidson. I don't have a bass boat. I have horses.
You do have quarter horses.
I have horses. So that's kind of where it started, and I have to correct you. It's really not 12 world championships.
It's not 12. Okay.
No, it's 26.
26. I am so sorry. Okay. All right. Wrong bio. I apologize.
No, so I have a unique program. I have a breeding program. I have my own stallions, my own mares. I select, the get and pick the stallion and the mares, and they're all bloodlines that have produced great roping horses. Mm-hmm. And so I raise those colts, I train them, I break them, and I show them, and I've trained and shown and raised 26 world champions off my place. So pretty proud of that. No one else has really done that.
Yeah. It is fun. I'll kind of get to brag on myself, but had the pleasure to be at your home a couple years ago. And, and just all of your rodeo stuff out. That was pretty cool to get
well, thank
to
you.
see.
Thank you.
That was a lot of fun to see. Okay, so when you look at rodeo today compared to when you were, a kid involved, what differences do you see in the way the way we embrace rodeo? Maybe we're not embracing it. What's changed for you, and what do you think's changed in rodeo?
Well, a lot has changed. But number one, the livestock is much better. The roping horses are much better, more specialized.
Right.
Previously, you just got your ranch horse and went to the rodeo and roped. No, they're specialized now, very specialized. Right. The other livestock, the bucking stock, is much tougher. Each rodeo producer used to have 1 or 2 really bad bulls, and others were just mediocre. Yeah. But now every one of them will kill you. I mean, they're all bad to the bone. I mean, they're really bad. The money is much better. We have. J.B. Mooney, bull rider, won $7 million in 12 months. I mean, that's unheard of. I mean, it's just the prizes are better. The competition, of course, is a lot tougher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people specialize now. Used to, I'd go to the rodeo, I'd enter the calf roping, the bull riding, and the bronc riding, and, you know, maybe I'd get one or two checks. But now people specifically, they're bull riders, they're calf ropers. They don't cross into a few, but not many. So it's very specialized athletes.
Yeah. Okay, so when you look at those, you know, young folks who are saying, I'm kind of interested in going to rodeo, do you ever want to say, ooh, maybe you don't? Or do you think it's something that all young people should give, maybe considering the same way they might consider tennis or football or something else?
Well, you know, I don't really I haven't think I've ever discouraged anyone from taking up a equine activity or a rodeo event. I mean, it's for parents out there, it's a great way to raise your kids. You know, get them around horses, get them involved in horses. Could be a little expensive, but those kids never get in trouble. They don't have time to get in trouble. They've got to get up and go to the barn in the morning, clean stalls, feed the horses. They got to get home in the afternoon, go back, ride, practice, you know, put the horses up, wash them down, put the fly spray on them, you know, and they learn a lot of responsibility, and they stay off the streets. So it's great. It's a great program.
There is something about, you know, you can see, you know, when you see those kids, FFA kids, rodeo kids, when from a young age, you know directly that you're responsible for another life.
Yeah.
Right. That does something to a kid. That makes them a little more responsible, doesn't it?
Well, it does. Yeah. You know, those kids mature a lot faster.
Right.
They perform in the real world a lot better and adapt a lot sooner than other kids that don't have that opportunity, because they're basically given adult responsibilities.
Right. You're still involved.
Oh, yeah.
In rodeo. You know, do you ever think to yourself, this is the last year I'm going to do this? I think, do you ever reach that point, or is that something you're going to keep doing until your wife says you're done?
I haven't. I haven't yet. I mean, I competed this month, May the 2nd,
mm-hmm.
and planning on competing the end of the month. So if I get over this bum leg, I got kicked in the shin bone, and I'm trying to shake that off. But
so that wasn't a member of the legislature that did that.
No, that was a little bull calf that did that.
All right. Okay. So I want to talk just a little bit. I'm going to go back over to the other end of things, kind of the ag end of things. One of my earliest conversations with you were in the Texas House at the time, and you were talking about the need to encourage people to buy Texan, talking about the need to encourage people to be focused on particularly ag products. In our conversation at the time, being from Texas, why is that? And you've now since gone on, of course, the Ag Department, the Ag Commission maintains the Go Texan program.
Yes, sir.
And you have, you know, grown that program, expanded that program. Why is that important? Why is it important to ask where our food's coming from?
Well, 2 or 3 reasons. You know, number one, today before I came here, I had lunch with His Excellency of the United Arab Emirates consulate in Houston. Drove up, and we had a long business lunch. We're going over there in September. We're going to visit Lebanon, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and tie down a lot of loose ends for our farmers. We've got a great guy working for us now that speaks 4 languages. Is originally from Lebanon. He's been here 38 years, but he's helping us. We just made a deal to sell the Lebanese army 50 tons of Texas beef every month. And it's like you said, just show up in this hat, this West Texas accent, and this belt buckle, and people are just like a magnet. If you're from Texas, everybody wants to do business with a Texan.
Right.
There's just something about us that sets us apart from others. You know, it's everybody. They might not know where the other 49 states are, but they know Texas. I mean, yeah. Where are you from? Texas. Oh, Texas, great. You know, so we exploit that. We have got to spread our business out. We made a huge mistake when Trump was in his first administration, and this wasn't his fault, he inherited this, but we were selling 60% of our soybeans to China.
Right.
Now, that's like letting Walmart have all your business, and then Walmart one day decides, I got a nickel cheaper somewhere else, you're out. So that's what happened to us. When they dumped us, we didn't have a place to go with our commodities. So we were actually ahead of that on my global outreach initiative. Mm-hmm. So we had found new markets for Texas products. While during the tariff wars with China, while 49 other states lost exports, one state actually went up in agriculture export, and it was Texas.
Right.
But we were able to ship the sales that were sending to China, and we shipped it to Saudi Arabia, to Spain, to Peru, other countries that we had made inroads with. And that's what we're doing now. We're making inroads. Our latest target is the Middle East. Booming economy over there. They're building stuff. I mean, it's crazy what's going on over there, and they need product, and they need high quality Texas beef amongst a lot of other of our products. So that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. And you for a long time been talking about the need for folks to be focused on nutrition. Before Maha was cool,
sure,
you were talking about it in Texas schools, trying to encourage Texas schools to be buying from local farms, at least from Texas farms. Explain that. Why not just grab the junk off the shelf?
We were doing Maha 10 years ago.
Right.
When I first became ag commissioner. One other thing on your last question, I'm going to throw in because I think it's important, if you don't mind. Other thing that's facing us is the first time in our lifetime, and this is really important. People aren't talking about this, but it's huge. An agriculture trade deficit of about $50 billion. In our lifetime, America's been known as the breadbasket of the world. We feed ourselves and a lot of other people too, around the world. We are going to buy more food than we export, $50 billion more. Now, you're freedom-loving, liberty-loving man like me. You can't hold on to your freedoms if you're dependent on foreign powers to feed and clothe you. Right. This is serious. So we've got to turn that around. It all happened during the Biden administration. Mm-hmm. They got away from their mission of marketing agriculture products. We've lost all of our customers. They were more focused on DEI, climate change, the Green New Deal, everything that they shouldn't have been doing.
Right.
They were doing. And now we've got a trade deficit, which is just awful. I mean, it's dangerous, very dangerous. So we've got to get that back. So I just wanted to throw that in there because I think it's important.
Yeah, no, very much appreciate that. So, So on the one hand, you've got the global impact of encouraging Texas ag, but on the other hand, we have the very personal impact of trying to encourage Texas ag in the sense of buying food locally. Your program for farm to schools, I think
sure,
you called it,
Farm Fresh program.
Also your kind of general encouragement for folks to buy produce and food from Texas. Well, why should I be concerned as a consumer that my fruits or that my meat is coming from Texas rather than being shipped from somewhere else?
That's excellent, man. Here, I'll be glad to give you the reason why. So when I took over 10 years ago. They don't send you to training or school to be an ag commissioner. They just hand you the keys and say, here it is, good luck.
Have fun.
So I'm trying to get my head around this $7 billion agency. I mean, my budget's larger than the budget of 35 governors. I mean, this is a big agency. Most of it's food and nutrition. Mm-hmm. So I would go to these schools trying to figure out why we have healthy trash cans instead of healthy kids. That's where all the food was, in the trash can. They wouldn't eat it. It's terrible, awful. So I would say, well, how much local product are y'all serving? We don't serve any local product. I said, well, why not? Well, we don't know any farmers. We don't have time to go to the farmer's market. It's just easier to buy ultra-processed food that's flash frozen from Benny Keith or Cisco's, and we thaw it out and put it on that plastic tray.
Right.
Well, that's why you have healthy trash. They won't eat it. It's terrible. I mean, it's awful. It's not even healthy.
Right.
So I don't like mandates, so I don't do mandates. So through encouragement and good work ethic, we've initiated a Farm Fresh Fridays. I challenge them at least on Friday serve something local and have Meet the Farmer Friday. Bring that farmer in that you brought that product from mm-hmm. and let him tell them how it got on their plate. Because kids are disconnected. They don't know where their food comes from. So we've been doing that now, and we've expanded that. We've become the model for the rest of the nation. USDA is trying to replicate what we've done here in Texas. Right. So from zero local products till today, last year our schools bought, served, fresh, no added salt, no dyes, no preservatives, never flash frozen, never ultra processed, cooked from scratch, $300 million worth of local products from our farmers and ranchers.
Wow.
So it's making a difference. I think we are making Texas healthy again, at least in the school lunchroom.
You brought up the Trump administration. You were a very early advocate for President Trump. You out campaigning. It seems like for periods of time there, you were as many days out of state as in personal time helping the president. How do you feel this second administration is going?
It was great. I had the bus tour and we went to the swing states and did all that, did everything we possibly could to get him in office, which it worked, obviously. Of course, the Democrats helped. I mean, they didn't they put a very good fight.
May your enemies be stupid, right?
Yeah, right. So anyway, it's, I can sum it up this way. I have agreed with every statement Trump's ever made except one. He made a statement one time. He said, "We're going to win so much, you're going to get tired of winning." I said, "Bull, I will never get tired. How could I possibly get tired of winning? That doesn't make sense. Why do you say that?" But it's almost true. There's so many executive orders every day. I say, "He did what? No, what? Slow down. I'm getting tired of winning. I can't keep up. It's too much. Slow down a little bit." But it's been like that. It's just been an avalanche every day of good news coming, out of the White House. I mean, it's just been terrific. So, oh man, he's got more done in the first 20 days or so, whatever it is, than most presidents ever get in 2 terms. So it's been great. We're almost winning so much I can't stand it.
and you now have, in terms of like your federal compadre, the ag commissioner, someone from Texas, someone who's been involved in the ag business in Texas.
Oh, constituent of mine. When I was in the house,
the Texas.
You're up 30 minutes from my house. Lives 30 minutes.
It does make a difference when you've got an administration that is friendly and receptive, doesn't it?
Well, the previous administration, I was suing all the time and spent 40% of my time working against federal, oversight, pushing back on things that were hurting our American farmers and our consumers. I'm an advisor on this one. This is great. I mean, I get called in and we've, been to the West Wing and, two or three meetings over there and advised them on screwworm, bird flu. I mean, you name it. So it's night and day. Right. Really is night and day.
What are the challenges that you see coming ahead for the ag industry in Texas? What are things that we, as just kind of normal Texans, what are the things we should be concerned about? What should be looking out for in the ag industry?
Well, I've obviously already mentioned the ag trade deficit. That's the biggie. The other biggie is we lose a farm a day to urban encroachment, solar farms, housing. At that rate, we're going to run out of land in about 700 years. I mean, we got lots of land. So that's not going to be a problem. People think it is, but it's really not. Even though they're building some of that stuff in the I-35 corridor, our best farmland. Mm-hmm. The limiting factor is water. Our state is out of water. And finally, this, and I've been saying that for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And finally, this legislative session, the legislature has acknowledged that, and they're attempting to address it. We'll see what comes out, see how they do it, but we've got to do a whole host of things to address it. There is no magic solution. First thing we can do is our cities, from the time they get their water to they deliver it to the customer, lose 30% of it.
Right.
It's bad infrastructure. We can't be wasting 30% of water we don't have. So some of the bills address the infrastructure problem. I've got money for infrastructure. Texas Water Development Board has money. USDA, the money's there. We've just got to get in there and fix these old leaky. Some of these rural cities still have cast iron delivery pipes. It's crazy. So galvanized pipe. I mean, they haven't even got to PVC yet, much less PEC or something, more, satisfactory. So we've got to do that. We spend millions and millions of dollars getting rid of stormwater drainage. We need to capture that and use that water. I mean, we need to make an asset out of a liability. Very easy to do off of parking lots or distribution warehouses or, like this building, we could catch that. That's an easy one. Desal is becoming a lot more popular. We have about 20 plus cities in Texas using desal. None of them doing seawater. Still a little too expensive there. Corpus Christi's trying to figure that out, but like the city of Granbury, Lake Granbury's on the Brazos River, and it's got salt in it. So farmers can't irrigate out of it. You can't really drink it. So what they do, they put in a little desal plant. It's not that salty. Clean it up. They're able to use it. So a lot of things like that. Even a homeowner can do their part. And Austin and San Antonio kind of got this down. Other cities could learn from them, and that's water smart plants. Just plants that aren't water guzzlers like St. Augustine grass. Switch to buffalo grass. A lot of Texas natives. Once you get them established, they don't need supplemental water. They're beautiful. So everybody can do their part. But there's a whole, and I didn't even cover all the things we can do. Of course, long range, build more lakes and reservoirs, off-channel storage and high flood events where we could capture some of that. So there's a lot going on that we need to address. Water is the big thing that's going to stop Texas from growing.
A moment ago, you said something. I want to kind of end with this. You said that when you get elected as ag commissioner, there's not an ag commissioner school. They give you the key to the office and say, "Good luck." So what would you say? What would you offer to someone who might have a twinkle in their eye, thinking, when Sid Miller's done being ag commissioner, or just generally speaking, what advice would you give to someone about the job of ag commissioner? What's something you would want for someone to not have to reinvent the wheel? What would you want them to be doing?
Well, my attitude is, when I came aboard, I said, what are we going to do? We're going to make a difference. I think we made a difference. We made a difference in our schools. We made a difference in our agriculture exports. We made a difference in consumer protection. All of these areas, we have made a difference. So, I tell people, I said, well, what are you trying to do? I said, well, my goal is to be the best ag commissioner Texas has ever had. And when I'm done, whoever follows me, they need to be better than me, because that's what Texas deserves. Now, looks like I've got a couple of political opponents already,
Congratulations.
Hanging right there. Congratulations. But I would tell them, that I-35, there's political bodies thrown all up and down I-35 over my last 20 years. So good luck.
Metaphorically, not literally.
Not literally. But so far, I've always been successful.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if the people still like me.
Well, Sid Miller, thank you for your time. Thank you for fighting for Texas. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
God bless you.
Thanks, sir. And thank you for joining this edition of Real Texans.